Hey everybody, welcome to our first of 3 videos about extended fasting. This is sort of exciting.
Very exciting.
We just sort of came up with this idea of a way to capture this information by way of video. We have a videographer. We're outside at Ashland Park because the response to our guided extended fast has been phenomenal, overwhelming. And so we thought, wow, we really want to keep this information, record it. And so this is the first of 3 videos that you'll be receiving throughout our extended fast together. We were just talking before we started about how we have over 60 people doing our first guided fast. And I was thinking, wow, when we talked about doing this and opening it up, that maybe we would have 5 or 6 people at most. So the fact that we have over 60 of you guys coming on this journey with us is amazing. And I know you've done a lot of long fasting work. I've done a lot of long fasting work. We do know how to do this work, and we have a lot of knowledge to share with you. And so I'm excited to dive in. The videos are designed to capture the essence of the beginning point of the fast. That's this video, the midpoint of the fast, and then the ending part of the fast. And that would be, for me, to think about it in days 1 through 3, days 4 through 6, and then days kind of 6 through 9. Many of you guys are going just for 3 days, and I want you to know that that is a big journey in itself, and we'll be talking to you at the end of this video specifically about tips to break your fast. So, to get right going, I'm going to introduce you to Amy Coleman. She is a fast friend to me. We are kindred spirits. I actually love being around her. She's got one of just a great energy, and she also has more knowledge about fasting and this work than you could possibly ever find. So the fact that she lives near to me and I get to see her a lot is amazing. So tell us about you, tell us your background, tell us about your fasting experience and all that.
Sure. Well, welcome everyone, and welcome to the fast. And I'm so glad that you're making yourself a part of this journey in a community that's supportive. I remember I was really sick as a little kid, and I put myself back in order physically by learning how to cook for myself healthy vegetables and things like that at probably around the age 13. It wasn't until about 16 that I actually started juice fasting. And it was in medical school, which was a little difficult because it was a lot of studying to do and hard to prepare meals between that. And there weren't any wonderful weekly juiceries like Kimmy runs at the time. So it was a little bit kind of in the closet, so to speak, with my juicing. So that's what's so important about bringing a community in. I went on to become a Air Force flight surgeon, went back and did a family medicine residency at University of Kentucky, went on and now am in a fellowship for integrative and functional medicine. I'm designing my clinic around how we can bring out the body's ability to heal itself. I've been very disappointed in chronic disease management that we currently have available in mainstream medicine, and I see nutrition as a path through chronic disease and even acute disease in some respects. So I've seen it over and over in myself, my family, and in my patients. And so, what Kimmy is doing is actually resonating so deeply with me, because my feeling is, let food be your medicine, and we've all heard that through the Hippocratic Oath. And it's something I take very seriously. In this day and age, a lot of times food is bringing disease, and it's going to be that we employ food that brings us out of disease, just a different kind of food and not the American diet. So learning in a group setting like this how to eat, how your body feels when you're eating pure nutrition, is the beginning of the journey. And so we welcome you as friends here to this family, and I'm just so thankful that we've come so far that we're able to do this together as a group rather than trying to figure it out on our own. In our own kitchen. So welcome, and let us support you along the way, and here we go.
Yeah, so this is my probably 5th or 6th long extended fast. And by long to me, and long in our community would be defined as longer than 1 day, because let's face it, folks, most of our lives center around food. It's social, it's grounding, it does all of these things for us. And so anytime we are going beyond 1 day, we're, in my mind, doing extended fasting. So we are going to go, Amy and I are going to go 9 full days, maybe longer. And I have many of you guys going 3 days, 6 days, some going the full 9 days with us. And so we'll be sort of talking to each segment. If you are gonna embark on 3 days, please watch the videos. Please stay active in our Facebook group, which I've been calling our living room, because that's a place for us to have conversation. It's a place for us to elevate this work. It's a place to hear your questions, your concerns. I promise you, somebody else has the exact same questions. So please join in there. I think that's a big part of it. I've done this work, like Amy, alone for a lot of years. And let me tell you, most days, on day 1, when I'm doing this by myself, I feel a lot of sort of dread in some senses. I will actually say, in previous summer fasts that I've done, I have this sense of, here we go.
Like kicking up a new diet.
Yeah, it's not uplifting. I have been so excited about doing this, of course with you, Amy, I have a lot of friends doing this, and so hello to all of my friends, and I'm thankful for you guys, of course, and then a lot of people that will be new friends, and so I'm so excited about it. Doing something together, it's just awesome. A community is uplifting, and we're gonna have a great time together. So I asked everybody, early on, well, first, go ahead and tell me about your fasting experience. I know you've done 17 days already this year.
Right. So I just recently did a 17-day fast, and before then, I usually do about 2 to 3 fasts a year. Usually once in the fall and once in the spring. I kind of coordinate it with my spring cleaning kind of concept on that. Most of the time, I will do beyond a week. But when I first started fasting, I did start with just a 3-day cleanse. It was enough for me to gain confidence in myself and that I could do it. And it was my body getting used to the fact that I was going to clear out everything. So just because you're doing a 9-day fast or a 3-day fast or a 1-day fast, there's no judgment in any of it. We're all on different places on the same path.
Right.
And so just like people that run a 3K, a 5K, a 10K, it's just all based on where you are in your training, so to speak.
Right.
So we support everybody. So I've been juice cleansing, like I said, since I've been in medical school, and I actually used it for my patients in the Air Force. I had a lot of patients that were not able to be on certain medications because of Air Force limitations. So I would make them their juices and take it to them in their squadron. And we saved quite a few pilots that were getting ready to be disqualified because of medical conditions that needed to be controlled, and the nutrition was exactly what they needed. So
it works.
Yeah, it does. It works. So I've got a history of doing my own fasts and helping other people with fasts. Back in the day, we did the centrifuge juicing.
Yeah, me too.
And
me too.
I don't even think at that time I had access to as many organic vegetables. So we are really high cotton here. We are, we're drinking.
It comes to us in a bottle.
It's coming to us in a bottle. It's organic.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really living the life.
If you've never made your own juice before, it's doable. I mean, it's really doable. I have a juice machine at home. And actually, it's why I started this whole business to begin with. Elizabeth and I were, I just live right over there, so that's why I'm pointing that way. Elizabeth and I were making our juice, for each other. And when she would bring the juice to me already done, I'd be like, oh, this is the life, because it just takes a long time and it's messy.
Dishes.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do starting out a fast, this is day 1 for me, day 1 for you. A few people have already started, so I think we've got a few people maybe already on day 3 or 4. But generally speaking, this is the beginning. In the beginning of anything, I think it's important, especially when you're doing something challenging, which, folks, this is challenging work. There's it's not easy. It's not designed to be easy. It's a challenge. And whenever I'm personally beginning a challenge, I like to really think about, why am I doing this? What is my intention? What is my purpose? So if I do a mantra, again, you can just look back to it and say, okay, why am I doing this again? You know, in days 4 or 5, you know, why am I doing this? And so this year for me, I'm basically doing this, you know, reclamation of oneself is really the first point of revolt. And so I read that quote somewhere, and I'm basically saying I'm going to reclaim myself and the things that serve my highest good, and I'm going to use it as a time to release those things that do not serve me. And that is why I personally am doing this long fast in the summer of 2018. Have you given some thought to why you're doing this? Did I just force you to do it?
No, I love being forced to give my mantra. Everybody has a very personal mantra, and mantras evolve over time. A mantra could just be, I really want to get away from everything artificial in my life, you know, starting with foods. And that would be kind of the basic reason mantra that I used when I first began. Like I said, it evolved. So where I am now is, you know, how do I unplug more from the world so that I can get in touch with my own inner voice? And when I get on a fast, it kind of takes away all of the decision making on, you know, what am I going to eat, how am I going to prepare it, where am I going to go to the grocery store, and that frees up a lot of space. So when you get when you have space that's cleared for you, then it opens you to new possibilities. And so how are you going to fill that space that you create in this fast? For me, it's going to be on inner reflection and meditation and getting in touch with my inner wise person. Now, that could be whatever it is for you. But I want to let you know that the power of your focus is one of the most important things that you have. Where you put your attention is monumental, because whatever you focus on grows and gets bigger. So if during this week you've got this empty space to fill, and you're filling it with nurturing your body, thinking about nutrition, maybe taking a little break and doing some meditation, you're going to find what your body gives back to you, and doing that is going to be quite surprising in a very good way. So open your hearts and minds to the mantra that most resonates with you. Fill the space with a new focus and a new intention that this fasting will give you and allow you. And I think what you're going to find is a whole new way of being and doing in the world.
Exactly. And you know, we've talked a little bit already. If you've already been in our Facebook group, and certainly in the emails that I sent to you guys already, a long fasting experience is a physical, emotional, and even a spiritual journey. And to not give some credence or honor each of those things is missing part of it. And so while that may be a little airy-fairy for a lot of people, I'm still going to talk about it because I think it's important. And, you know, it can be an entry point for you into this work. Generally speaking, the reasons people take on an extended fast generally focus around the physicality of it. I mean, I think most of you probably are coming into this work designed with results and reasons relative to your physical body. Potentially you feel inflamed from summer. That's why I love doing extended fasting work in the summer, because my body feels a little more inflamed than it does for the rest of the year. It's hot. I tend to get out of my typical dietary eating routine in the summer. I might eat an ice cream cone or 2 or 5 over the course of the swimming pool season. I don't eat ice cream generally. It seems like there's more opportunities for socialization and drinking, and it just seems like while I don't necessarily overeat in summer, it just feels like I'm not as healthy. So I love an extended fast to reset. It's almost like resetting to your factory settings. So if that's been your experience, that's a great reason to do this, and something that I think a 3-day at any extended fast will remedy super quick. I also think it could be that, you know, sometimes you just feel like a garbage can. You're just not feeling your best. And I think an extended fast also really gives you that return to energy and I don't know, a sort of feeling of well-being versus a feeling of malaise, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The other thing that it can do, and I suspect many of you are coming to this work for this reason, and it's that you've just lost that craving for nature's perfect fuel, which is undoubtedly fruits and vegetables. So you've lost really the craving for that. And I can tell you that after your 3-day fast or your 6-day fast or your 9-day fast, you will most assuredly begin to crave those things again. And so those generally would be the 3 most common reasons that I think most of you are here. Am I missing any?
I agree. I feel like there are a lot of places in the United States, not a lot, but a good handful, that people pay thousands of dollars, I mean thousands, to go and to be in a nature setting like this and to have their meals cooked for them. And Hippocrates Clinic, Omega Clinic, there's some clinics that people go, Esalen, to go and basically recover from all the woes of the cravings and their chronic medical issues that are caused by wrong food choices over time. And so what you're looking at here, physically, mentally, emotionally, is like your own retreat. Because basically what you said in not in beautiful language is there's a reset button that needs to happen and you feel it. And instead of having to shell out millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to have someone do it for you, you're choosing this empowered mode of doing it yourself in the environment that you prefer. And this is something that's happening all over. People that are even doing alcohol and drug withdrawal programs are now doing it via telemedicine.
Right.
Which is much more friendly and helpful to the person in their setting where they have their own, support system around them. So nutrition is no different. You don't really have to pay to go to these places to do this in this extended way. You can do it right where you are. And, Kimmy mentioned the physical part of it. The physical part of it of making sure you get all of your nutrition in your body fully absorbed. And, I'd like to speak to that physical component because we're just not getting good nutrition. Our bodies are hungry over and over, craving food over and over, and still not satisfied. Now, if we look below the surface of that, we do have to see that a lot of the foods that we eat create kind of an acidic environment, all the sugars and fats we eat together in the fast food Americanized world. And that also prevents the body from being able to absorb all the amount of nutrients and minerals it needs. So many times the body is asking for more nutrition, not more food, and we're confusing the signal.
Right.
So when Kimmy talks about resetting your alignment with what cravings really are supposed to be, people don't realize that what they crave sometimes isn't what their body's really saying. We get the message mixed. The body's truly saying, give me more minerals and give me more vitamins, and you're saying, oh, I'm hungry. Well, what have I been eating? I'll just keep eating what I've been eating. You want more of it, evidently. That's where the communication is getting mixed. When you do a juice fast, you're really getting plugged in. You're getting plugged into what it feels like to have pure nutrition being absorbed by your body and how the body is going to actually reclaim that for its own processes.
Right.
And that's a feeling that not many people actually allow themselves to experience.
I think that's really true. And I love your language about the mixed signal because I think all of us watching could probably say, yes, often I eat something, I'm not really sure why I ate it. But the point of this is, the green juices, you'll notice in your juices, which many of you received or picked up today, lots of green juice. The intention there to really provide an alkaline environment for the body, move away from this position of acidity, beer, wine, coffee, tea, soda, sugary processed foods, lots of stress, all create this really overload of acidity, right? We're looking in a position of really homeostasis and good health would be, slightly alkaline. So cheers to some,
you can even smell
you can.
The goodness. I mean, if you just shake it, if you just shake your first juice today and you really take a look at that beautiful color and you just really kind of let your senses tell you, What is this? What does it smell like? You smell the lemon? You smell the ginger?
Yes.
You smell the saladness of it? And your mouth really starts to water. I mean, I am really, like, I have not had.
Hopefully everybody's mouth is watering.
And I'm going to start off my fast, like, right now with a toast. And Kimmy's got hers.
Yes.
And she's got a little sample already. She just taste tested it for us. But I'd like to propose with this toast, and I'll put the cover on the top.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to propose with this toast that we learn more about ourselves than we ever knew, that our body is able to get the nutrition and nurturing that it's been needing and calling for so long, and give yourself the humble attitude of learning during this time, and of dedicating this juice to what you'd like for it to do for your body. Reclaiming your own mantra, reclaiming your own space and time to do something for you, which not many people are doing. And use it as a way to kick off empowerment in your life, and pure fuel nutrition for your mind, body, and spirit.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we've talked about already maybe the reasons you came into this fast. We've talked about that really fasting of any duration over one day, in my opinion, I'm sure that could be subject to debate, does offer and afford us a lens both to improve our physical body, our emotional body, our spiritual body. And we'll talk more about that, the latter two, in the later videos. I would offer that the first 1 to 3 days of any fasting experience is undoubtedly the most difficult. And I don't think you could find someone to dispute that point. I'm not suggesting to you that in days 5, 6, 8, there won't be periods of struggle. That's not true. But the first 3 days, your body is going through an adjustment period. It is changing. I mean, digestion is a huge part of an energy pull for the body, an energy drain for the body. You are changing over really the way that you are grounded with food. You're gonna have a lot more space and time to do other things. So there's just a lot of changing happening in the first 1 to 3 days. So chances are you may not feel amazing during this time. And that's not a reason to quit. And it's not a reason necessarily to develop a dislike for this work. There is some discomfort in any challenge, and my hope for you and my aim is that you can see through that and keep going. If any of you decide that you want to continue and do a continuation, you know, we can obviously help you do that. And I would say that once you make it through to the other side, days 4, 5, etc., the body is transitioned.
Oh, wow, yes. I mean, what I notice is when I very first started fasting, my body was having to get rid of a lot of toxins that it was basically storing, because your body does store toxins over time in adipose or fat tissue.
Right.
And when you give it a chance to get rid of those toxins by being in an environment where there's so much rest and regeneration going on, you will notice that sometimes you'll feel more fatigue.
Yes.
You might actually you might have a little sweat at night.
Yes.
You might get a headache, especially if you've been on a lot of caffeine for too long. So what's happening is your body's literally purging some of the toxins that you have been ingesting over time. And you might even notice, when you sweat, that it has maybe an odor to it, something like that, because these are toxins that are being eliminated. So the body knows how to get rid of toxins. It really just needs the space and time. So when you create this space and time for it, you're going to be kind of amazed at what the body's going to be doing for you.
Yes.
And over about day 1 to 3, if you get a little tired, a little headache, give in to that. Allow yourself to rest, because your body is really repairing and rejuvenating and using a lot of metabolism and a lot of energy reserves to get you in better order than you've ever been. So respect that and honor that. It's not a time to actually start training for the Olympics right now. Gentle exercise is fine. Gentle walking is fine, but getting enough sleep is very important. Also would like to say that you're used to eating food and feeling full from it. You know, a lot of people are, oh, I can stop eating now because I feel full. Well, in this mode of eating, you're not ever going to feel full. And so what's going to happen is that your stomach as a muscle is going to kind of shrink back down into its normal size, and during meals it's really not going to expand very much. Now what that does is it resets your hunger zone. So instead of having to get a certain amount of fullness to feel full, you're going to feel just fine with not feeling any of those stretch receptors generating any of that tug. It's going to be more along the lines of you almost forget that your digestion's even there. After the hunger goes away, after about 48 hours to 3 days, for some people it happens faster, you'll barely be aware that you need food. You'll just kind of be set on a certain time to drink your juice, and you'll feel energy even though you're not looking for food, if that makes sense.
It definitely is a higher energy zone. That is true.
Yeah.
And, you know, for many of us going for the first time in an extended fast beyond 1 day, you might find it helpful to, I think I included this in our extended fasting guide, to maybe change up your routine. I believe the evenings are the most difficult in terms of doing extended fasting work. That could be different for everybody, but for me, the hours from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., when I'm typically involved, I'm a mother to 3, so I'm in service to a lot of additional people other than myself. I'm still going to be making food for my children, and it just feels like a very difficult time for me. So I'm going to not be so caught up in making sure I cook meals at home for this next little bit. You know, we'll just have to sort of ebb and flow with that, but I'll also be doing kind of an evening walk. I'll do something different during that time of day just to make the transition. It is also helpful, sort of, we're moving into our pro tips, you know, so sort of for each of our videos at the end, we're going to kind of give you some pro tips. And so sort of my pro tips for days 1 through 3 would be: 1, change up your evening routine. 2, do everything that you can to really honor this process of the changeover. I talked about tongue scraping and body brushing and mineral salt baths. If you have access to a far infrared sauna, get a massage, go for a walk, spend some time alone and relaxing, do something you typically would not do, read a book, take 30 minutes, whatever it may be for you. All those things, you know, I think enhance the body's changeover during a fasting experience. The other thing, in my previous long fast experience, sometimes some vegetable broth that's warm at night in that dinner hour feels like dinner. And you can even add a little pinch of Himalayan salt to the broth. I find that to be helpful also. I also will tell you, after around day 2 or 3, if I've been using vegetable broth, I don't need it anymore. So your body does move away from that, oh, I need the broth for dinner. I'm not a huge fan of vegetable broth, by the way, so I don't want to give any false claims that this is going to taste amazing like some dinner. It just doesn't, but it does give me some comfort that that's my dinner, and it just sort of works. The last probably pro tip from me would be: don't forget to drink a lot of water. Water for me in a fasting experience is the life. So, you know, I try and drink 100 ounces of room temperature water every day, but I especially do so in a fast. You have in your juices that you picked up or received a juice called Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. It's a really heavy citrus juice. It's intentional in this fast, and it is grapefruit, orange, and a little lemon. So citrus helps the body pull mucus out. We all need mucus in our body, so don't get that. But there's generally some excess if you've, you know, not been dialed into perfect nutrition and sort of this really elevated way of living. So it does a good job of doing that, and it can spice up your water. So I add that pretty much equally to my water throughout the day, and it's just a great, you know, it's just a great refreshing thing.
And I'd like to add a point to that. People say, well, that's a very acidic fruit, but in the water that you have it in the juice, it's actually treated by the body as alkaline.
Right.
You know, and if you look at the pH meter, you know, 1 is hydrochloric acid and 12 is like a very strong base that you can clean pots with.
Right.
In the middle is 7, and that's neutral. Now, most people, in their blood, will always keep their blood at neutral, kind of, in that very tight zone. But in the gastrointestinal region, and where we're introducing food from the environment into our bodies and out, we normally, in the American diet, are eating a lot of fat and sugar, which is highly acidic. And so what we're doing is we're creating this shift during this fasting time of going from highly acidic nature to alkaline nature. And that is actually nature's pH. That is more consistent with the rules of nature. And
right.
when that happens, your body is going to, like we said, detox.
Right.
So when she mentions the skin brushing and the infrared saunas, you're going to give your body more ability to detox the things that it's trying to bring to the surface. So,
right.
So her pro tip is very, very well said there. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, if you haven't ever used a tongue scraper, I think it's amazing what comes off of your tongue during an extended fast. Mm-hmm. And if that doesn't sell you on the practice of tongue scraping as a lifestyle, it will, trust me. It's really amazing. It changes. I can't tell you it's the same for me in every fast, but sometimes it's just a thick white coating that's the way your body is releasing some of the things that are clearly not serving it. So it is something. They're $2 from a drugstore. It couldn't be easier to do. So that I think we've talked about that before, that wow, it's just amazing
right.
what happens.
Right.
And the body's ability to actually do this work is really amazing. If you are ending the fast after 3 days, I want to talk just for a second about how you might break the fast appropriately. And it's quite simply, and it's pretty common sense, right? We want to exit a fast in a similar fashion that we entered a fast. So if we've been giving our body a nice break for 3 days, then we don't want to overload it again. We don't want to lose that memory that
right.
we've created in our GI system, that we need less food, that we need a different type of food. We want to sort of stick with that. So I personally like breaking a longer fast with one juice, potentially a smoothie, which would be slightly thicker consistently, homemade soups or broths, or a small salad. Generally speaking, less is more. Then you can slowly, as the days go by, add back in animal fleshes if that's a choice you want to make. Add back in all the other things that may be part of your sort of dietary, selection ongoing. But we wouldn't want to add those things back in right off the bat. So give your body time to sort of adjust to eating, and it is, again, super simple to do. It's common sense.
Because you have to realize that your whole gastric system and intestinal fortitude has been resting. And
right.
When it's resting, it's been giving all of that energy to rejuvenating yourself, repairing things that needed to be repaired, just innovating you in a new way, because it didn't have that energy to do it
right.
before, because the digestion was taking on so many of was giving you so many metabolic challenges. It takes a lot of energy to eat and digest the American diet.
Yes, it does.
So when this rest has happened, it's like waking up from a very deep slumber, and that's your body, just yawning and stretching as it's coming off the fast. So again, be kind, be very kind. It's not going to be about how quickly you can get off the fast and back on your normal diet. Kimmye is absolutely right. If you do that, you're bound to have some GI discomfort, diarrhea, feeling pretty poor. So her situation and what she's trying to explain with this is very true. And I just want to say, as another pro tip, be gentle with yourself. Come off the fast. And when I'm coming off of a fast, I typically go from juices to like homemade almond milks.
Right.
I soak almonds in water for 24 to 48 hours until they sprout. Just a little tip you'll see coming off the end. And then I'll drain the juice and put them in a blender with 3 cups of spring water, and I'll blend it, and then I'll strain that. And so, I'll kind of go into a little thicker consistency juices, and then I'll switch over to smoothies for a couple days or a day and a half, and then I'll start to introduce some something with a little bit of texture to it, like you said, some chunky soups and things. So again, we do it the same way for a reason.
Right.
And we wouldn't be telling you this unless it was true.
That's true. That's exactly right. So this is concluding our first video designed at really giving you the ins and outs, the whys, the how-tos, all of the things about the first phase of an extended fast, which are days 1 through 3. I'm honored to be on this journey with you. For the first time ever, I am excited about starting today an extended fast, and that's because I have so many of you guys doing it with me, and it's an exciting time and truly a movement that there are so many of us interested in doing this work. That means that fasting, which has been around for ages, is really becoming in the forefront of our awareness, and that's a great thing. So best of luck to you in these days 1 through 3. We'll be active in our Facebook living room. It is a closed group just for the people doing this work, so join in there. If you've got questions, you know where to find us. Thank you, and